Hello friends, see you again on the Solderchua channel. In this video, we will flash the BIOS IC or BIOS chips using the TVP2588U Plus BIOS programmer. Hopefully this video can help in the process of learning to repair a laptop. Let's watch the video. The first step, we remove the BIOS chips from the motherboard. I added flux to the legs of the BIOS chips, so that the BIOS chips are easy to remove. I heated the BIOS chips using a hot air soldering station. When the tin has melted, I remove it from the motherboard. I put it next to it, so that the camera can see it. Second step. I clean the BIOS chip from residual flux using liquid thinner. Then I dry using a tissue. Next I put the BIOS chips into the 200 ml SOP8 adapter socket. After it looks like it's installed perfectly, I plug the adapter socket into the BIOS programmer. Third step. BIOS flashing process. I open the software from TVP2588U+. Then I click Ident to detect whether the BIOS chips have been detected. It looks like the BIOS chips have been read in the BIOS programmer. Then I click Read to read the contents of the BIOS chips. This is the contents of the BIOS chips that have been read. Now I will save the contents of the BIOS chip as a backup. This is to avoid if after flashing the laptop's BIOS it still doesn't work. I can restore the old BIOS contents. I gave the name backup so as not to be confused with other BIOS files. And I save it in the same place with the BIOS that will be programmed to the chips. Now I will delete the contents of the BIOS chips, so that the BIOS chips are completely empty. Then I click read to make sure that the BIOS is now empty. Now it appears that the BIOS chips are completely empty. Because I have more than one BIOS file, I'll try to see if the contents are the same. Since there is a BIOS file that cannot be opened, I will try to fix it by changing the name to short. After we change the name, the BIOS file can be opened. After I'm sure which BIOS file I will put in the chips. Now I will flash the BIOS. Now I have successfully flashed the BIOS. Now I will remove the BIOS chips from the socket adapter. I put it back on the motherboard and will be resoldering. Fourth step, soldering back to motherboard. After I did the soldering, I let the motherboard cool down for a few minutes. I cleaned the BIOS chip from residual flux using liquid thinner. Then I check again whether the soldering was really perfect. Fifth step, performing motherboard testing. In this fifth step, I will do a test on the motherboard. Can the motherboard return to normal after flashing the BIOS? If the motherboard can turn on and there is a display on the external monitor, it means that the flash BIOS process that I did was successful. Seen on the external monitor, there is a display from the motherboard that I just flashed the BIOS. Now I will try turning it off and on again. Okay, that's a tutorial from us. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and press the bell button, so that friends can be notified of the latest videos from us. Thank you.